What's up, everybody? Sorry for the delay. Thank you so much for your patience. Run into some technical difficulties and rushing home from work today. It was a crazy hectic day, but with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Louis Swartz, and I am by day a recruiter for the New York Army National Guard and part-time drill sergeant located in Harlem, New York. And on my free time, like now, I come on here to help you with navigating the joining process to make a well-informed decision throughout the joining process, get better prepared mentally and physically for Army basic training, recruiting, and anything Army related. So with that being said, quick disclaimer, the DOD, the United States Army, the Army National Guard, and the state or any other government entity does not endorse, support, or sponsor this channel. All right, this is my own personal page or channel, and I'm expressing my own views, opinions, and experiences, and a wealth of knowledge of over 20 years of experience as a recruiter, 24 years of service in the United States Army, specifically the Army National Guard. So my goal is to help you and do all the above as previously described. So if that's what you're into, consider subscribing to the channel. It's 100% free. You can always unsubscribe later. There's no contract. So that being said, if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're brand new here, let me know what state you're tuning in from. And the way I work it here on the channel is I work from the oldest comment, working my way up to the latest and greatest, most recent comment. So I do appreciate you coming in here. So don't feel like I skip any of you for any reason, okay? Huge shout out to Flynn Vassence. He's a brand new member of the paid community for my channel. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And when I work from the oldest to the newest, if I get a super chat, super sticker, or a super thanks, I will finish delivering my points without rushing, and I will go directly to that super chat or whatever, highlight them on the screen, thank them obviously, and then address their question or concern, whatever it is that they're posting within the chat box. So I am not skipping anyone. If for some reason you feel like I'm skipping you, let me know. I am human, I may miss you. But with that being said, I do have keywords and phrases blocked for various reasons. So just understand that. So if it's not showing up on my end, I don't know what to tell you, but as always, you can always Instagram, chat, or DM me rather. It's at TEAM SWARTZ, same name as the channel. That is my preferred method, or you can email me at this email address coming into the chat box, all right? So I appreciate y'all, and thank you for tuning in. So without further ado, in typical TEAM SWARTZ fashion, I am going to start with, did I mention everything? Oh, real quick update for recruiting. This is probably going to be a small community, but nonetheless, it is a very, very, very important update. So if you are an immigrant from a non-English speaking, predominantly speaking country, and you have less than 3 years here in the country, you are now going to be obligated to complete the ECLT, the English Comprehension Language Test, and you must score a 75 or better. This is in addition to the current policy where if anyone throughout MEPS or at the training site feel that you are not being understood or you're not understanding everything that's being said to you, that they will make you do this English Comprehension Language Test. And if you score less than a 50, then you'll be discharged at the training site, but you will be denied enlistment as a result. So I'll do a dedicated short or something like that explaining in more detail with a PDF showing you which countries are exempt from this. But again, you'll have to do the ECLT if you're in a non-English speaking country. So without further ado, let's go with Robert Clubs. Awesome show, sir. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for that compliment. Ian says, what's up, what's up, what's up? Appreciate you. We got Pawn with the yo, what's up? I don't know if this is distracting or not, but this is like as low as I can get it. And I was rushing to get this set up real quick because I wanted to try something different. Not quite sure I like it to be 100% with you, but anyway. Sydney Morris, what's up, what's up? Yasir with the first Team Swartz of the evening. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much. Let's see. Oh, let me get to Flynn Facence because he just became a brand new channel member. So I'm going to hit him up real quick and then scroll back up and go where I last left off. So, talk to me in another video. I'd love to know anything you know about Fort Leonard, Missouri. It's referred to as Fort Lost in the Woods. It's brick bone-chilling cold in the winter. It's in the middle of nowhere, so don't plan on having a whole lot of fun if and when you get some free time during your AIT, your Advanced Individual Training, meaning your job skill training. But aside from that, I really don't know anything about Missouri. Never been, but I'm sure you can find quite a lot of comments and videos about Fort Leonard if you YouTube search it and Google search it. But I wish I could add more value to that, but yeah. Mountain Rose says, this looks super serious. I don't know if it, really? Are you kidding me? You messing with me? You messing with me, Pry? All right, so Pawn says, how are you, brother? I'm doing very well. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Sydney Morse says, hello from active duty military, sister. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you tuning in. We got Master Chugs with the best Army channel on YouTube. What's up, Sarn? Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, man, I've just been chilling like a villain, and yeah, so I'm picking up my YouTube channel, taking it more seriously this year. A few months back, without going into too many details, my channel was under investigation because, believe it or not, somebody actually complained about my channel, and that because it was monetized. But your boy doesn't break any rules, so it was quickly closed. So anyway, moving right along. Oh, and going back to this, what I was gonna say is, in that investigation, I realized that I only published 5 real videos for the past 2 years. And there's a story behind that, and I'll share that in my life update video, and I'll share that in the update video in the near future if you can still hear me. I realize that the cables are messing up. I might have to get some new cables. I don't know why it's acting up, honestly, but nonetheless. Moving right along to the hashtag Team Swartz coming in from Angel Omar. Appreciate you. We got Reggie says, I was in the Guard for 3 years, got out, went active duty, but then got an opportunity to be a drill sergeant. Never thought I'd be a drill sergeant. Can you guys hear me even though the camera is going in and out? Can you guys hear me even though the camera's going in and out and acting like a fool? I don't know why it's acting like that. Hang on, stand by. Can you hear me now? All right, good. You can hear me. Perfect. Appreciate that. Thank you for the feedback real quick. All right, so first of all, welcome back. And drill sergeant, huh? I got some questions for you, Reggie. Are you currently a drill sergeant, or you were a drill sergeant while you were on the trail at some point throughout your active duty time? Let me know in the chat box. Sorry, excuse me. All right, so moving right along, we got California up in here from Sydney Moore. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. We got Mount Rose that says Missouri here. That's, ooh, hang on, I didn't click on it. Here we go. Missouri, that's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Gail says, I am 35 years old and would like to join the Army. Do you think I am too old? No. You will need a waiver, unfortunately, but it's an easy slam dunk waiver. You don't have to worry about that. All right, so age in the military is literally just a number. It doesn't hinder you. People don't look at you crazy. We have every walks of life from different cultures, backgrounds, countries, upbringings. It's the melting pot of the nation, so you'll be all right. And Gil says like number 8. I'm not sure what number 8 means, but trust me, age is nothing. We got, again, California from Sydney Morris. Appreciate you. We got Alex Yawan says, how hard is it to get an asthma waiver? If you had, so first of all, let me post this in here before I forget, medical waiver video guide coming into the chat box. It's also linked down below. Any video that I talk about in this live stream will be linked down below for you. So with that being said, asthma as a child that you outgrew, even though you may still be getting prescribed an inhaler, as long as you've never had anything documented for asthma related restrictions, issues, or attacks, then that waiver, it should expect to be approved. And usually it's from age 13 forward. So if anything happens after age 13, so if it happened, like let's say the last incident was like 1920 and you're now like 35 and you haven't had anything in like 15 years, then we could probably do a waiver then. But typically speaking, in general, 13 or older, if you outgrew it and you haven't had issues since, then and you can pass a pulmonary functions test, then you'll be fine. Tip says, thanks for the info. You're very welcome. Flynn says, what is something that you would recommend for basic in regards to dealing with drills breaking you down? This is a really good question. What I would tell you is when a drill sergeant breaks you down, it's coming from a place of love and respect and their duty and responsibility and motivation to instill the discipline and the education to transform you from a civilian into a soldier. And sometimes, depending on how you are acting and others around you, they may need to break you down so they can build you up into a highly motivated, disciplined, fit soldier who can fight for our country overseas, because ultimately that's what we're here for. Well, that's what we signed up to do. That's what we signed the dotted line for. And they take their jobs extremely seriously. And if you happen to have some drill sergeants that have a combat MOS, military occupation specialty, meaning their job skill, as their job experience prior to being a drill sergeant, you can expect them to be even more rigid and strict in self-discipline and force-fed discipline. So just understand that we as drill sergeants put our pants on one leg at a time. We are human just like you. We're not machines, although we may portray ourselves as a character, because a lot of times drill sergeants are really not like that in real life. They're just putting on a persona. When we put that hat on, we're somebody else. We can be whoever we want to be, but we're somebody that's going to motivate you, drive you beyond your perceived limits to the point where you think that you want to quit, and you might want to quit. But hopefully, if you have a good drill sergeant and you're open-minded and you put forth your best foot forward in every situation you're in, and you make the best of every situation that you're going to be going through, then you will come out in the end a better, more disciplined, physically fit, mentally tough person. And if you absorb it and you fully, what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of it at the moment, but if you just grasp it and embrace it, there we go. That was an easy word too. But if you just fully embrace the experience of basic training, for most of you, this will be a transformation from where you were to where you're going. And let's face it, like myself, I was in a small town, upstate New York, horse farm across the street, cow farm down the street. There was probably there's probably not a whole lot of things that was going to get me to where I am today. I know for a fact that although there are some ups and downs, good seasons, not so good seasons throughout your military career, for the most part, me joining the military has been the best decision I have ever made. And I would not have stuck it out to be a recruiter for over 20 years if I didn't believe in serving this country and the experiences and the things that I've been, what's the word I'm looking for? Exposed to. I definitely don't think that if I had stayed in my hometown, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't be as blessed as I am now, but being in the military and being flexible and volunteering for things will lead you down a road that you wouldn't normally probably go down if you didn't take that first step. So if you're contemplating on joining, I'm not going to tell you to join because this isn't for everybody. But if you're looking for change and you want to give it your all, I guarantee you that if you give 100%, you will get 100% of this opportunity. It's what you make of it. Just like anything in life, whether it's work, school, the military, give 100% and you'll get 100%. The worst thing that you'll probably run into is piss poor leadership, toxic leadership when it gets really, really bad. But understand that leaders come and leaders go. You just have to weather the storm, maintain your military bearing, never lose your military bearing. Don't ever give in to your emotions. Think logically, think critically, and make better decisions. Understand how you're feeling so that you can control yourself, self-regulate, handle the situation, consult a senior individual, maybe not in your chain of command, to see things through a different lens and to get solicited advice on how to handle the situation in a true military professional manner. I'm not saying that's going to happen to you, but it wouldn't be unlikely, or it wouldn't be uncommon if it did or didn't. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but it wouldn't surprise me if it does happen. But again, it is what you make of it. Your work ethic, your drive, your ability to work with others, what you put into it, right, is going to make or break your experience in the military. So when you're speaking to somebody that's currently serving or have previously served, and they will attest to this, you will see people who hate their experience in the military, people that love it like myself, or people that are indifferent and they don't care one way or another. I would probably say it's safe to assume that 8 or 9 out of 10 people that did not like their military experience was because they were sold a specific expectation from the time that they were going through the enlistment or joining process. And then when they got to their duty station and they started their career, it wasn't what they were expecting and they felt jaded. So that being said, I'm gonna move right along to, oops, I got a super chat. My guy, Luis Rodriguez, hang on. But hopefully that addresses your question. And I appreciate you becoming a channel member as well. Ian Cloper, I'll be right back. Got to take care of these super chats. All right, Rodriguez, what's up? With the hashtag Team Swords. Hope all is well. Dropping in to show support. Working now, much later. Thanks for all that you do. I appreciate you. And I apologize for the screen going in and out, but as long as you guys can hear me, we're in it to win it. All right, but I appreciate you, Lewis, and enjoy work. Don't get in trouble listening to me on the pod. All right, so Ian says that we can hear you. Oh, that was from earlier today. Appreciate it. All right, cool. So Jose Godinez says, most real recruiter. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. With the salutes. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so we got James Bryant with the prior service here. Well, welcome. I don't know if you're still out of service and you're looking to come back in, but I appreciate you being here. Says, did basic training change over the years? Basic training, well, I'm not sure when you served, but basic training has changed maybe a little bit. Like for example, when I went through Army basic training, we had the bayonet course. We no longer had the bayonet course. Kind of wish they would bring that back. But to be honest with you, if you got to pull out your bayonet, you got bigger things to worry about. You know what I'm saying? So, kill. But James Bryant, if you are looking to get back in and you've been out for more than 5 years, you are going to expect the requirement to have to redo Army basic training, okay? And with that said, I would definitely look into what we call the Army Integration Course, the AIC, Army Integration Course. It's a 5-week basic training experience conducted by Army National Guard drill sergeants where they will treat you with dignity and respect because you've been there, done that. And with that said, it's 5 weeks long. So it's essentially starting you off with or at a this is so annoying. I should have just left everything it was. But you're basically starting out in white phase because everyone has to go through BRM, basic rifle marksmanship. You have to qualify with your weapon. And then you go from there. All right, so Tip says, if I go as an 11X, meaning infantry, what do I need to do to get a signing bonus? It really depends on the branch of cert. All right, so to qualify for a bonus, if you're going National Guard, I'll tell you how that specifically works. But when you go in active duty, they may have similar, if not the same requirements. So when it comes to bonuses, oftentimes it's going to be tied to an ASVAB score being a 50 or better. The MOS and or unit has to be bonus eligible, and you may have to sign for a specific location and or a contract length. Your recruiter will make sure that you understand what you are qualified for, and the guidance counselor at MEPS will make sure that if you're qualified for it, you get it. It's not like we sit at MEPS and be like, man, you want to give this guy a bonus? No, you don't like his attitude? All right, we won't give it to him. It doesn't work like that. If the opportunity that you're joining for has a incentive like a bonus attached to it, then you're good to go and you'll get it. Now, when it comes to the Army Gap, so you said 11X, that means active duty, because in the Guard, you're specifically joining as an 11 Bravo or 11 Charlie. So with active duty, again, ASVAB score, unit, duty station, other things like that will factor into it. Next week, hopefully, Erica Burney on YouTube and on Instagram. She is currently serving as an active duty recruiter out of California. She also is drill sergeant qualified and did 2 or 3 years at Fort Jackson on the trail as a drill sergeant as well. So she brings a wealth of knowledge that she can answer these types of questions specifically to the regular Army. But for the Guard, each state has 2 MOSs that are bonus eligible up to $20,000 for a 3 to 6 year contract. All right. But with that being said, again, your recruiter will let you know. I should have just sat down because I don't like standing. I don't like the standing option. Because then I'm like this, and I feel like it's unprofessional, but it's messing up my lower back because I'm getting old AF. Caveman. Interesting name. Since it's been proven we don't fight for America's interest or to defend America, what's the point in serving? Well, apparently there's no point for you to serve, but I do appreciate you tuning in and posting your question. But I'm not going to bite the bait and have a debate on what you're talking about. And I'm not going to sell you on serving. It's either you serve or you don't. After all, we are the land of the free. You make the choice that you want to do for your reasons. But, anywho, Mount Rose says, what can you bring to basic as far as self-care items like stuff for your feet or certain types of hair wash, etc.? See many veterans recommending to take care of your feet seriously. Yes and no. All right, so I do have a video for you, and there are some things that you can bring like moleskin. When I went through basic, you couldn't use anything. You just had to suck it up, Buttercup. Drive on with your bad self. Just consider it character development. But for now, they do allow mole's feet, band-aids and stuff like that. But they'll offer you stuff like that. But if you want to bring moleskin, you can definitely bring that with you. I talk about it in the video I just posted. It's also linked down in the description so you can check it out later. But with that being said, you really can't bring a whole lot of stuff with you. What I would say is put the items that you think you might want to bring with you, and during basic training, I would consult your Army basic training drill sergeant and find out from them if it's authorized or not. Because the worst thing you're going to do is bring something that's not authorized and be forced to throw it away if you're not allowed to store it in your personal bag. Amy Lake says, question, you can explain how the buddy system works? Are they really kept with your friend for the first 2 to 3 years as long as you both choose the same MOS or enlist under the buddy system? The buddy system, the way I understand it, now in the Guard as a recruiter, the way it would work, it doesn't work in the traditional sense that active duty works, okay? And if an active duty recruiter is watching this, you can correct me if I'm wrong for active duty, but for the Guard, we're gonna guarantee you basic training together, but not necessarily AIT if you're not choosing the same MOS. And that should be done where if you're going Guard, get both test and medically qualified at the same time, or until you're both pre-qualified. And then the day that you wanna go through basic training together through the buddy system, it's best that you're at MEPS at the same time so they can coordinate the same ship date at the same time and work it that way. When it comes to active duty, I don't think that it has to do with the first duty station. I believe the buddy system works just like for the Guard, where you're just doing basic training together through the buddy system. So you have somebody that you know and that you're comfortable with and all that good stuff, but not for your full 2 to 3 year contract or 2 to 4 year contract, even though you said 3, but hopefully that makes sense. Jet says, can you get me in the CAT program? I passed medical and scored a 17. I think you meant the CAT 4. And if and when it becomes available, you're gonna usually have to test twice on the ASVAB. And like you said, pass the medical exam. Are you located in New York City? Let me know in the chat box. Master Chug says, I heard you don't need a GED or high school diploma anymore to join rumors. Yes and no. As of right now, I'm gonna post a video. It's called you could join through Sophia. And what this video is gonna talk to you about is that yes, if you do not have a GED or a high school diploma and you're looking to join the military, you can join without a high school diploma or a GED. And the workaround is to earn 15 official college credits in lieu of a high school diploma or GED. And a workaround to that, the cheapest and fastest way to get that done is in the video I just posted called join with no high school diploma or GED with Sophia. Sophia offers college level courses at a fraction of a cost at a subscription fee. It's pretty steep in my opinion if you got no money, but it's $99 per month. And what you can do in the video, it'll explain it to you, but you knock out about 5 classes, which is about 15 college credits. Then you take that to the college I talk about in the video, and for $5 additional, they'll convert those onto their official state Florida college and put that on a transcript, and then you can use that transcript to join the United States Army. I don't know if it works for the other branches, but I know for the Army it definitely does. But if you're smart, you'll actually do enough to get up to 48 college credits, and you could join as a private first class without a GED or a high school diploma. Now, after you've completed all your initial entry training, it would behoove you to actually get your GED after that, because if you plan on going to college, then you might want to look into that, all right? Because that may be a restriction to some colleges. But this is a workaround to get into the military as a high school dropout and a non-GED holder. Jet also asks, just waiting to retest, but if I get into that, I'll take it and have line scores. All right, sounds good. Reggie says but no, I'm not a drill yet as of right now. I'm a drill sergeant candidate learning the top 3 modules and drill and ceremony all over again. Okay, so you're prepping for the academy. So you've been either DA selected or volunteered for the drill sergeant academy. That's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, I volunteered myself, but I want you to watch this video because I'll give you some tips on how to memorize the modules. USADSA video. Here we go. Coming to the chat box for you called the USADSA tips. And good luck at the academy. I have 2 people at the Joe Sargent Academy right now as we speak. And I know of a 3rd person on my Instagram. She's there too. LaShawn Scott says lock it. I think it's called clock it. Is it lock it or clock it? I'm confused. LaShawn, educate me. It's like, I understood it as clock it. Clock it. Or was I misunderstanding? Let me know. Sorry, hang on one second. All right, so Quentin Eastman says, I can give a lot of information on the asthma question. You can ask your primary care provider about the pulmonary function test, which is known as a PFT. I just recently did mine and I passed it. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. It is a medical waiver requirement. Just recently took my doc said I should have an off medication years ago. There we go. But you know what? They were making money off of issuing you a pump for no reason. Michelson says, I love it so far. I'm in AIT right now and I'm just waiting to get to my duty station. I hear that can be time consuming sometimes, but congratulations. Keep doing great stuff. All right. YC210 says, question, waiting for a moral waiver and had another recruiter check on the progress of it and was told it is at the top and every other level approved it. Do you think that USAREC will approve it? Every other level approved it. So when you're doing a moral waiver, right? When it goes through your recruiter's leadership to get to the waiver authority decision, it's not that these levels are necessarily approving it. They're not the approval authority. Now they can screen it and say we're missing this or this needs to be corrected and make sure that it's administratively correct. But all waivers that get approved are approved from the waiver authority, not through anybody else at whatever level. It's not that it's getting approved. They're just making sure that it's administratively correct and they're pushing it up to the next level, if that makes sense. Sorry, I lost my spot here. Here we go. So Martin says, I'm going to the 09 Mike program and I'm hearing mixed opinions of it. Should I be worried? All right, Martin Hogan, I am going to give you my 2 cents and stealing thunder in a future video. You might not remember everything I want to say at this moment, but bear with me. First and foremost, understand, and I mean this with the utmost respect, okay? The 09 Mike program is for the unqualified, quotation, unqualified. So if you fail the test scoring less than a 31, you are not eligible to join, which makes you an unqualified applicant. However, the Army saw a need to educate the masses because I feel that our education system has failed us. 1. 2, COVID ruined a lot of things for the past 4 years. This past summer was the last graduating class of the Rona period. But with that being said, 09 Mike was created because let's keep it real. A lot of people can't afford a tutor, whether it's time or money. People work real jobs, people have families and other responsibilities, and let's face it, a lot of people battle procrastination or self-discipline, where the 09 Mike program is going to help those who actually come in here with the right mindset, a growth mindset, and there with a purpose to pass the ASVAB and to increase their scores to thus qualify for more options, even which I'll get to the con of all this, but the pro is that the Army has agreed to pay you full-time pay with benefits for up to 90 days to improve your math and English skills so that you could pass the test, so that you can be in the military, continue your service as a normal qualified soldier. So we're going to be paying you to learn or possibly lose body fat, because that's the other aspect of the 0-9 Mike program, but I'm assuming that it's for the academic improvement part of the 0-9 Mike program. So remember, you are an unqualified individual, so please come in here correct and understand that you're going to get retested about 3 weeks after you start the program. You can only be there for 3 weeks, or as little as 3 weeks, or up to 90 days. The pro is most people, if not all of my recruits that I've sent through the program, have literally scored over 20, and a lot of them over 30 or 40 points higher on their retest. Okay, I have a video that talks about it right here, about what you'll do day to day and how all that stuff works too. But you'll also increase your job skills. Now, the downside to this program is that you still get to choose your job. It just might not be the job that you're looking to join as. And I say that to say this. If you want more control over the ability to choose your career path as far as choosing your job, or having more control of getting the job of choice, then pass the ASVAB scoring a 31 or better. Because it's an exception to policy to allow you to join with a failing grade to go through this program. So it's like a waiver. We're giving you permission to join with the intent to eventually pass the test before you move on to your training. So we're investing thousands of dollars to educate you so that you can pass the test. So either at time of enlistment, scoring a 31 or better, or then when you pass the program and you now can choose a job, you're only going to be offered what is available at the time that you're choosing your job, that you're qualified for, that is available, and that there is a training seat involved. It's a trifecta. So you gotta qualify for it, it's gotta be available, and there has to be a training seat for that job, and you can pick it. And you get about 5 minutes to choose it. So that's the pro. Those are real quick, the pros and cons to the 0-9 Mike program. I personally feel that it is a phenomenal program, because if I had gone through something like that, I would have scored way higher and got qualified for way more jobs. But with that being said, you make the choice, you make the decision. Pass the test and have more control over the job choices, or roll the dice, see if I get what I want. But a good recruiter will sit down with you and they'll say, based on your current line scores, these are the job skills that you're eligible for. So if you see these ones, research them. You type in fact, I'll type in the video so you can check it out, so I don't have to elaborate more on that. But you research before you leave. So if you see any one of those options, you already know what it's about, and you can pick one of those MOSs or job skills if you know what I'm talking about. All right, so Jet says, also, have you been out and looking to rejoin? Do you have to take the ASVAB over again? So if you are truly prior service, meaning that you joined, you got MOS qualified, and got to your unit of assignment, then yes, you do not have to retake the ASVAB test. If you got prematurely discharged before you were MOS qualified, you will have to redo the ASVAB if your ASVAB test scores expired after the 2-year anniversary of when you passed your last test or took your last test. All right. Thank you, Tip. Appreciate that. Alexis, I'm going to come back to you because I got a super chat coming in from Michael Bryant. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Appreciate you. And this person said, I ship out to active Army in April as 88 Mike motor transport, aka truck driver, at the age of 30 years old. I'm nervous and excited, which is perfectly normal. I know I was extremely nervous. In fact, Michael, and to everybody else who was here, you guys have a huge advantage that you guys are probably not thinking is an advantage. When I joined in 2000, when I was going through the joining process between the years of 2000 and 2001, Google was barely like 2 to 4 years old at that time. So the information on the internet was nothing like it is today. I did not have an army content creator like myself spitting facts and helping you through the joining process, right? I had to go through all that on my own and then go through basic training completely blind. And the only thing that I could think of about what my basic training experience was probably more than likely going to be like was watching the movie called Full Metal Jacket. If you have not seen that movie, I highly recommend that you do. In my opinion, after they graduate from Marine Corps boot camp, it's extremely boring after that. But with that being said, definitely watch it. And he also says, you have been informative and inspiring. I watch your videos almost a year. Well, I appreciate that, Michael. And again, thank you so much for supporting the channel. All right, Alexis, have you successfully recruited someone who has held in a mental ward for 72 hours or S? Yes, and everything that I could possibly share with you is going to be in this video. It's my medical waiver guide. Real quick, Alexis, in addition to being in the mental ward for 72 hours, was there any diagnosis or annotations or notes in your medical file of you cutting yourself or harming yourself, like a self-harm scar or self-harm evidence? Let me know in the chat box, and I'll add some more stuff to that. Even though I address it in the video, but I do have one extra thing to share with it if you did that. That's not in the video. So let me know in the chat box. I'll pay attention to my iPad over here and see if I can see it. All right. Bedub Demand says, how to stay motivated in OSAT. All right. So OSAT is an interesting way of completing training. And there are pros and cons to this. The pros is it's in one location with the same drill sergeants with the same people the entire time. To me, that would be a pro. Again, I'm just one person, so that could be a con to you. Maybe you want some variety. But the con to it is this, all right? So when you go through basic training in AIT, if for some reason, whether it's medical, disciplinary, or some other reason, you get recycled, best case scenario, you get recycled to the beginning of the phase that you're currently in. Worst case scenario, it's a restart to day 0 at the beginning of basic training or your AIT, Advanced Individual Training Experience. Conversely, in OSAT, same thing, but different. Meaning that if for some reason you get recycled in OSAT, they usually typically don't recycle you to an earlier phase. And here's the con. If you get recycled in OSAT, where in, like I said in the other one, if you were in black and gold phase of AIT, you would go to the beginning of that phase, or worst case scenario, the beginning of black phase if you're in AIT. In OSAT, if you get restarted or recycled, you're going all the way back to the beginning of basic training. So let's say you're in gold phase and you're about, let's say you're like a few weeks away from graduating, right? And OSAT's like 22 weeks for most places, right? So let's say you're like 18 to 20 weeks knee deep into your OSAT experience and you done messed up. You flipping messed up. And they're like, hey buddy, welcome to day 0. And you got new drill sergeants, new platoon, and you do it all over again. So to stay motivated, lean on your battle buddies. I'm pretty confident, pretty sure that you're not the first or the last to feel the way that you do. So if you're feeling homesick, you're feeling like you're being run down and all that good stuff, lean on your battle buddies. Find somebody that's feeling the same way, lean on each other's shoulders and build each other up, motivate each other. If push comes to shove, then what I would recommend is that I'm just gonna survive the day. And if that's too far away, then I'm just gonna survive to the next meal. I'm gonna survive to the next meal and then survive to the next meal. Before you know it, basic training is over. In my opinion, if you're feeling this way in OSAT, just remember that it's just a training environment. So however you're feeling or what you're experiencing in a training environment is not how the rest of the military is going to be. It's literally just like a regular 9-to-5 job, just military style. We put on the uniform, we do our thing. Now this is my TEAM SWARTZ channel uniform. It's not an official uniform, but you know what I'm saying. And lastly, throughout OSA and your initial entry training and throughout the rest of your military career, we get what we call resiliency training. They talk about spiritual resilience, medical resilience, all kinds of different resiliency type training. So every 2 weeks or so, you'll get resiliency training, if not once a week. So you'll have more than enough tools to cope with and deal with being unmotivated and all that good stuff. Alexis, SI, suicide ideation. All right, so as long as it's more than 3 years ago and you've been off meds for 3 years, then you should be fine. If it was like a super duper bad case, then, which is rare that they'll make this call, but they could make it so that you have to wait 5 years before you can join. But at minimum for something like this, suicide ideation, you're looking at a 3-year minimum waiting period, and all my tips are going to be in that video that I posted. And it's also linked down below. Man, I should definitely have sat down for this. I'm not doing this mistake again. Perspicuous says, hey y'all, finally went and got my ID card today. First time on base that wasn't MEPS or where we do RSP, which is the Recruit Sustainment Program, which is a National Guard pre-basic training that you do on a monthly basis, 1 weekend a month until you ship out the training. If you guys don't know what the RSP is, I'll post a link right here. And it should be linked down below, but if it's not, it's in the chat box now. Antonio Villegas. Jack that up. Sorry. Been talking to a recruiter and stuck on between 18X or 11 Bravo option 40. So it's actually going to be 18X or 11X because it sounds like you're going regular Army. If you go National Guard, then it's going to be 18X or 11 Bravo or 11 Charlie. But and option 40 tends to be more active duty. I'm not sure if on the states that have airborne and special forces, if they have option 40 type stuff like that in the Guard, but in New York we don't have those types of options. But stuck between those two. What I would tell you is if you want to talk to a National Guard Special Forces recruiter who's also 11 Bravo qualified, hit up. So I'm posting my Colorado Special Forces podcast. In the pinned comment or in the description area is the point of contact for those two recruiters. One is still currently operating, which is why his face is blurred out and voice distorted. And Sergeant First Class Klaus is just a regular recruiter who happens to be 11 Bravo qualified. And anyway, they're both recruiters and they'll be more than happy to answer your questions about 18X, and maybe they can help direct you to which one you should go for. All right. Flynn asks, what can I expect to see while at Army basic training in regards to behavior from people ranging from 17 to 25? Immaturity. That's what I would expect. Unfortunately, lots of immaturity. So you're probably going to be nicknamed Grandpa, and they'll probably look up to you and more or less look to you to mentor them, if that makes sense. Also asks, what are the most common ASVAB scores that you have seen? Excuse me. Most of the ASVAB scores that I see are between 31 and 50. Response for the age group of 17 to 25, I'm talking about behaviors. Yeah, just like immature behavior. That's about it. Alexa says, not sure if you can answer this, but with DEI being taken out, did you see a change of quota for recruiting goals? To be honest with you, I have not seen a positive or negative effect on the removal of the DEI or President Trump being elected into office. And I will not speak further on these hot topics just because this isn't a political channel, and honestly, I don't like arguing with people. And I know it's a hot topic, so I don't want to really dive too much into it, but it really doesn't change much, to be perfectly honest with you. As far as I'm concerned, we treat everyone with dignity and respect, regardless of your race, creed, or color, or religious preferences, to include your sexual preferences. Oh, look at that, thumbs up. But yeah. Can you bring Gillette antiperspirant gel? No. This is how I know that you did not watch my what to pack video, because I specifically tell you not to. But I'm gonna hook you up. And you don't have to watch the video. I do have chapters set up so that you can bounce around to the things that you actually want to see. But if you go directly to the description area, as part of my timestamps and chapters of the video is the list of everything that I talk about. So the 4 main things that you definitely need to bring with you is your Social Security card, debit card, your ID, and Army ID, and green card if you have it, or if it's applicable. Now, in the very near future, you're going to need a real ID to ship out to training, or an official transcript or green card. So transcript, U.S. passport, foreign passport, green card, naturalization certificate maybe, and yeah. But yeah, that's a real thing coming down the pipeline. Brian Plunchinski says, found your channel a few weeks ago about Family Day. What are the differences between AIT and OSUT Family Day? So I honestly don't remember AIT having a Family Day. I want to say that Family Day is for basic training if you're doing basic training AIT, and then AIT it's just graduation. Now when it comes to OSUT, you have a turning green ceremony around the 10-week mark to signify that you've completed 10 weeks of basic training, and you usually have the weekend to spend with your family. But from my understanding, depending on the OSUT site, that may vary, but typically you'll have the weekend. So you have a 30-minute turning green ceremony in the morning on Saturday, and then you spend time with your family on Saturday and Sunday, and come back Sunday afternoon. And then later in OSUT, the big graduation, or the big ceremony, is the turning blue ceremony, which is at the very, very end. And you have, again, Family Day the day prior, and then graduation ceremony. So in OSUT, the big days are at the very end. In basic training AIT, basic training is the meaningful one. AIT is like, yo, just give me my certificate. I'm out. I'm done. Tired of this. Antonio says, what's the difference between Range Regiment and Green Beret? I think he meant Ranger Regiment, Green Beret. Green Berets are special forces. Ranger Regiments are Rangers, part of the Ranger Regiment. So to be pretty honest with you, other than that, I really don't know much, but special forces kick ass. So do Rangers, but they're 2 different elite forces. Not really sure what they do, honestly. Never really bothered to look into it, but you know who does? Oh man, I don't have it here. Hang on, let me look something up. Dylan, any new moral waivers yet? I'm not sure what you mean by that. There's a really good question coming up from Mountain Rose in a second, but let me look up something for Antonio real quick. YouTube, sorry for this, beats. All right, so in the chat box, if you're still, let me know, Antonio, are you still here? Let me know in the chat box if you're still here. I'm gonna post a video from my YouTuber friend, retired Sergeant First Class Beats. He posts, so he has posted some Ranger videos and Special Forces videos with the qualifications and stuff. How do I see on desktop? How do I share this real quick? You know what? Let me just do this. There we go. There you go. That's his link to his YouTube channel. Another good channel to go to for Special Forces. It's more like preparation, but if he answers. The FNG Academy is geared around Special Forces. Gritty. I don't think he was a Ranger, but he did go through Ranger school. No, who did some Ranger videos? All right, so yeah, that's all I have for you for that. Sorry. All right, so Mount Rose says, how do you prepare mentally and physically before boot camp? I can't even run a half a mile before getting winded. Swimming reference my 50 minutes for 36 seconds before dead tired. No, that's perfectly normal. However, I would definitely recommend that your primary focus should be on cardio before leaving and walking at least 60 minutes per day to condition your feet in preparation for the ruck marches. So I want you to start, and what I mean by conditioning the feet, meaning like thicken the skin in the heels and your hot spots in your shoes, and just overall get accustomed to walking every day. Because the worst thing I want you to do is to get stress fractures in the feet, the shins, and possibly in the hips. So my basic training preparation video is right here. Definitely go check that out. As far as the mental game goes, is understanding and knowing what you're about to experience. So watching my basic training mini series will definitely help you know what you're about to do on a daily basis at basic training. I have an overview video and I break it down by phase in deeper detail, which I'll be redoing this year. But with that being said, experiencing it and knowing what to expect are two very different things, but at least you know what to expect, and that may help you take the edge off, if that makes sense. All right, Alexa says, is it true that recruiters have or had a certain amount of Black and white and Latino recruits per month? Not in the National Guard. I don't know about the regular Army or other branches services, but for me, a contract is a contract, and it doesn't matter if you're a male, female, white, Black, Hispanic, Asian, it didn't matter. As long as you met the eligibility requirements, I am putting you in. Say less, fam. Let's go. Lego my ego. All right. Austin Winter says, to be honest, I have lost all motivation to join the Guard due to everything that is going on with politics right now. Any tips or motivational speech? I will say this, Austin, and I don't want to get political. Oh shoot, Flynn, I just saw your super chat. I'll be right with you in 1 second, okay? But with that being said, when it comes to who's running off, who is in office and all that good stuff, in my 20 plus years of experience as a recruiter, I have never met anyone who legitimately didn't join because of a certain individual in office or certain things that are going on in politics. Because as soon as, all right, I'll put it to you. When Bush was in office and I was a recruiter, people were like, oh, I'm never serving under Bush. And then when Clinton took over, or whoever took over after him, I don't remember if maybe it's flip-flop. Either way, I've been in for too long. It's like, yeah. What I'm trying to say is, for everyone who said that they wouldn't serve under Bush, as soon as the next president was in office, guess who still didn't join? So it had nothing to do with the president. People serve if they really want to serve. Dang. My light died on me. No bueno. It's hot too. It overheated. Is this one hot too? No, this one's cool. Why is this one hot? That's not good. Kind of like the blacker background anyway. I'm trying to go for the opposite colors, red and blue. But anyway, it didn't quite look as good on camera. So same thing, like when President Obama was in office. or when Biden was in office. It really doesn't matter who's in office. It's either you want to serve or you don't, because either way, I'm getting paid regardless. And you're certainly entitled to your opinion on things. And when you're currently serving, your opinion is not public. You still have your freedom and your rights. It's just, publicly speaking, we have filters. Yeah, it's about all I'm comfortable about sharing at this time. But as far as motivational speech, just be like Nike, just do it. It's like when you're in school and you have a teacher or a principal or a college, you have a professor or whoever, a boss. You're not always going to like everybody, but you still got to go to work. You still got to go to school. You still got to do your thing. So just be like Nike, just do it. Ian, I will come back to you, okay? Hang on, where is it? Here we go. Flynn, thank you so much again for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. Shipping out to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, made in May. I'll be, do me a favor. So when you go to training, you'll understand what I'm talking about as far as OPSEC is concerned. OPSEC is short for operational security. So don't post your ship date on here. You can say May, but don't like give a specific ship date, if that makes sense. But anyway, this person says, 22 years old. When I get there, I look forward to it, but I gotta know, will it be fun? And this is my personal opinion, who has gone through basic training twice, once as a trainee and once as a drill sergeant candidate. What makes basic training annoying, really freaking annoying, is you're treated like a child. It's team, no days off. There's no Netflix and chill if you're not feeling well or you just don't feel like doing anything. You can't just sleep in. It's go, go, go every day. You get 1 extra hour of sleep on Sundays. Other than that, like I said, you're being told what to do. And to keep it 100 with you, it's almost like serving a prison sentence, but with benefits and pay, and you get to go home in the end. But in my opinion, the actual training is hella fun. It's the hurry up and wait, being treated like a child, and all the other minor things like being cold and not being able to put on the type of snivel gear that you would normally bundle yourself up in, because that's not the uniform of the day. So it's like those things. So, but the actual training part is fun, and it's what you make of it, you know? So just do your best, have fun, and yeah. I think it was fun-ish. There were times it was not fun, but it was fun. I had more fun as a drill sergeant candidate, to be perfectly honest with you, if I'm keeping it 100. All right, so Ian says, we don't want to go to Greenland. Okay, then don't go to Greenland. Ethan says, just got to my first duty station. I'm loving it. There we go. Here we go. Hell yeah. All right, so Jonathan Johnson, what's up, man? You know, actually, true story, man. I called up Jonathan Johnson, who's in my battalion level, working out of ops, and I was like, yo, bro, you were asking some awesome questions and stuff like that on my channel, and thank you for becoming a channel member. You know what he said to me? He goes, I have no clue what you're talking about. I'm on paternity leave. I was definitely not on your video last night, and I don't know what you're talking about. So I confused you with a colleague of mine, which is hella funny. And then I realized you were from another state, because I went back to my live stream and I started looking for the comments and stuff. But with any event, appreciate you again for being a channel member. And Jonathan says, I've been walking 100 meters until I complete 2 miles. So I'd sprint for 100 meters, then walk 100 meters again and again. And then a few days later, I was able to complete a mile without stopping. There you go. To be perfectly honest with you, and I talk about in my basic training preparation video, is 30-60s, meaning you sprint for 30 seconds, which is kind of like the 100-meter dash that you're doing in walking 100 meters, is equivalent to like sprinting for 30 seconds, and then walking for 60 seconds, and repeat that until whatever. So that type of running workout is the thing that's going to decrease your run time. So combining that and mixing it up with the other things that you do, like running 3 miles for fun for long distance, and then running 2 miles at the shortest time possible. It's you versus you, which I talk about in the video. But yeah, 30-60s, doing 100 meter like that, that's definitely going to help decrease your run time, and in my opinion, streamline the success in your efforts. But I definitely wouldn't run every day. I would run at least every other day, or if you're doing a hard workout, like testing yourself for 2 miles, then I would maybe do 2 days of rest and then do every other day running from there. All right. Justin says, I want to enlist in the Army, but I have an RE code of 3F. What can I do? You're going to need a waiver. So it depends on why you were discharged and why you get the RE code 3F. Get with your recruiter with your DD-214 discharge orders, or, you know, basically all your discharge documents. If it's better if you have your entire discharge packet. If you don't, then we have to request it. I mean, we're probably still going to request it anyway as a recruiter, but you're going to need a waiver for sure. Willows. Man, this is how I know y'all aren't watching my videos. Oh shoot, what did I do? Oh, here we go. Shoot, I gotta find where I was. I just clicked on something. My bad, your fault. Hang on. Okay, so Will Willis, would you suggest bringing a backpack or a duffel bag to basic training? I leave on Tuesday. All right, cool. So check out this video. It's what to pack and what to bring to basic training. Do not bring a duffel bag. I suggest a small, average backpack. Don't get like this humongous backpack. Just a small backpack to pack exactly what I talk about in the video. Keep it simple. Less is more. Less is better. A duffel bag is just going to make it more awkward to carry, especially if you pack whatever your recruiter gave to you. So if you watch the video, you'll thank me later. Ian says jelly donut. I don't get it. Oh, yeah. Not Full Metal Jacket. Oh, yeah. My favorite MRE? I'm going to say lately it's been the beef ravioli and the pizza. Those are my top two, honestly. Angel Padron says, pass the physical at MEPS. Next step is to enlist. What's the process from meeting the point of council meet to ship out date? Oh, okay. So essentially you have to go back to MEPS and sign your contract. So you're going to be considered what we call and refer to as papers only. You either go to the hotel or you show up at whatever report time is for your MEPS. For us, it's 5:30 in the morning. So we're outside by 5:15. So we don't play any flipping games. But with that being said, you'll get inside. You'll get your sticker, put it on your upper right-hand chest. You'll go down to the guidance counselor's office. You'll tell them that you're ready to process. First and foremost, they will take care of the shippers first. They have the highest priority every single morning. So once the shippers are done, which is usually between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, then they'll bring you into the recruiting office. They will give you a survey to complete and a copy of your SF-86 security questionnaire. So basically, when you completed your applicant's application, where you've worked for 10 years, lived for 10 years, school, references, family, and so on and so forth, you review that, make or annotate all the corrections on that paperwork. Your recruiter will have to un-F that and make those corrections before you can continue to process. So make sure that you do that at the hotel or prior to. Just make sure everything is good to go so that you don't have any delays at MEPS. Now, once they bring you in, they say, you want to join for this MOS? You go, okay. They look in the system. All right, these are your ship date options within the next 3 to 4 months. If there's more than one option, they generally give you an option to when you leave. If there's only one option, then that's your only option. If there's no option, like no ship dates at all, well, guess what? Now we got to change your job, or you got to come back another day and hope and pray that that training seat is available. Okay. So yeah. And then your ship date could be as early as a week or two after you sign your contract, or upwards to 3 or 4 months. If it goes beyond that, sometimes there's exceptions to the rule, and they can get an ETP, an exception to that policy, approved, and they can get you a later ship date for that MOS. It really depends, but that's pretty much what you're looking at as far as timeline. Jonathan Johnson says, thanks for helping us out to understand what the process is like. I like the movie. Yeah, I love Full Metal Jacket. It was a great movie. YF says, I have a scar from a dog bite. Will that require any waivers or anything? That hasn't affected anyone and is on my hand and is about 3 inches long, but nothing is affected by movement or functions. If you have the medical documentation or an updated evaluation, basically saying that you were evaluated by this doctor conducting XYZ testing or whatever, whether it's checking agility, mobility, flexibility, full range of motion, bending it, rotating it, and all that good stuff, and that there are no restrictions or limitations, then maybe no waiver would be required. I would not be surprised if they still instituted a waiver request, because MEPS be MEPSing, if that makes sense. So you may have to do a waiver, but that will definitely get approved. That's not going to stop you from joining. May delay your process, but it's not going to prevent you from joining. Austin Winters also says, to go in as an officer, do you have to have a bachelor's degree or just credit hours for it? So I have a detailed video here that you can watch as far as the 3 different options if you're going National Guard. But if you're going Army Reserve or the regular Army, you only have one option. So there's Federal OCS, which is 12 weeks long at Fort Moore, formerly known as Fort Benning in Georgia. And that's for all 3 components of the Army. In the National Guard, we have state tuition, which is true, but we have traditional state OCS, which is 12 to 14 months long. And then we have the state accelerated program, which is 9 weeks, 3 weeks shorter than the federal OCS. Now, whichever one you choose, if you have a 4-year degree, then yes, you could do all 3. Now, if you don't have a 4-year degree and you meet the rest of the criteria, the only option you have is the Army National Guard. The video will explain it, but if you're going regular Army or Reserve, you have to have a 4-year degree. If you go in National Guard, in a nutshell, in summary, is 90 college credits in college full-time with a degree plan in place and a projected graduation date, and you can join through OCS, through the state traditional OCS program. But the video will break everything down for you. Justin says, I have an RE code 3F from the Marines. Wow, it doesn't surprise me. Marines are always doing that. I want to join the Army. I need some advice. Feel free to ask away. YS says, thanks, #Team SWARTZ. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. Hey, JR Creations, welcome back. Appreciate you coming in. I'm going to be 22 when I finally get in. Outstanding. Too basic. YF also says, thanks for all your information. Once I can, I'm going to Idaho National Guard, hopefully as a airborne unit member. Not sure what that is officially called, but if not airborne, most likely 11 Bravo. Yeah, it's called airborne. Hold on, I gotta put the battery in for my laptop. So, uno momento, por favor. Let me throw on some music for you. Give me like 30 seconds-ish. All right, I'm back like Slim Shady. All right, so So JR Creation says, arrived at my first unit. I am processing now. That's what I'm talking about. Good luck. And hopefully everything goes well. Remember, put your best foot forward every single day. Do questions only have to be about basic? No. Krishad, if you're new here, if you're still here, let me know in the chat box. I'm going to try to pay attention down here. But with that being said, you can ask about anything recruiting related, Army basic training. It could be recruiting. It could be anything, honestly. All right. But anything you want to talk about other than politics, religion, and any other hot topic that's out there? Serene Saliu says, I'm 37. I am eligible for U.S. Army. With an age waiver, if otherwise eligible, you can join. Krishad says, April was my 2 years. I've been in, came in as a specialist at 30 years old. I'm a 15 Quebec at Fort Navajo. Oh, nice. That's what I'm talking about. Gerardo Alas says, thank you for all your help with your videos. I have a question for you. I pick 91 Hotel MOS. Any idea where I can be likely to be stationed? Thank you. I have no idea, unfortunately. Luck of the draw, I guess. But in AIT, you will put your wish list of like 10 or so stations that you would like to be in. And if the Army's needs marries up with your desires, then you'll get what you want. Otherwise, it'll be based on the needs of the Army. Unless at time of contracting, you're choosing your station of choice. I forgot what option that's called, but yeah. So the age cutoff, the oldest person that I know that has been approved for an age waiver was 47 years old, but that was for an extreme meritorious reason. But typically 42, 43 is like the unofficial cutoff, sort of. So this person is asking me, what's the blouse that you're wearing without rank on front? I've seen it on Ranger graduation pictures. All right, so this is my Team SWARTZ uniform. This is not an official Army uniform, hence the word, I don't know if you can see it on TV or on the screen, Team and then SWARTZ. All right, I got my unit patch, my Team SWARTZ logo, a subdued American flag, and a black t-shirt, making it different. Because can you guys hear me now? I'm just gonna check the settings here real quick. But yeah, this is an unofficial uniform. This is my Team SWARTZ uniform, my make-believe uniform. All right, I'm back like Slim Shading. All right, so Supreme B, how does the gas chamber feel? The 2 times that I've done it, it just feels a little stingy on the skin, the exposed skin, and considering I have no hair, I felt all of it. And thankfully, when I was a drill sergeant candidate, my mask properly worked and I didn't smell or taste anything until I took my mask off. But when I went through basic training in 2001, apparently I had a faulty canister filter. I know my seal was good because I'm a volunteer fireman, so it's not my first time putting on a gas mask or a face mask on. But yeah, basic training was a trip, but nothing, it just burns. It's CS gas. If you do some research, CS, it's basically like riot control gas. It's just difficult to breathe, kind of like pepper spray, sort of. So, yeah, but it doesn't feel too bad. It's just highly uncomfortable. Lord of the Woods says, just here to say thanks for all the free resources for the ASVAB test. I've been hitting up the books hard, and thank you. I feel better again. Thanks. You're very welcome. And you know what's sad? I'm going to post it in here just to throw it out there. Maybe I'll get some more views. But like this ASVAB video that I'm posting in the chat box, if you want to show me some love, just let it run for like 15 minutes. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but that would mean a lot to me if you would. It's about 20 something minutes long. But that particular video, between researching, scripting, re-scripting, shooting, and then reshooting, and then editing it, we're probably looking at over 30 hours of effort into that one video right there. And that is by far my most favorite video that I created on my channel because of, well, it was my first or second time adding a second angle, and it was like my second time, I think. Anyway, I'm using technical terms, but basically I had 2 camera angles on there, and I don't know, I just had a lot of fun making that video. And I added some sound design with some whooshes and transition sounds and clicks and bops and all that stuff. But I put a lot of effort into that video, and it kind of bums me out because 30 plus hours for 700 views in 6 days. It's disheartening. It's frustrating. And then like this one time I posted a video, I was in my real Army uniform, wearing my drill sergeant hat. It's a tail end of chow. And I said something. So I had this motivational thing during RSP drill weekends where I'll be like, who am I? And everyone behind me, all the trainees would be like, I am a warrior, and have to sound off as loud as they possibly can, you know, to be motivated. And they weren't so motivated because obviously half of them were still eating and stuff. And I wasn't expecting them to be loud. And I was like, you got to work on it. That video got like multi-million views for like 21 seconds of BS. Just a funny video. And like a video like this, I put my heart and soul into this ASVAB video, and like 700 views. It's insane. Hopefully it'll pop off like the other one I was just talking about that went viral, because after 30 days of it sitting there, that's when like in 3 days I had like 1.2 million views. It was crazy. That was a wild time. Anyway, I don't even know if that video is hidden or if it's still public. Mount Rose says, oh, I know FNG. I watch a lot of their videos. Yes, they are the real ones for sure. Meme King says, how long do people typically have to wait for waivers to be approved? Is it a case-by-case basis? It depends on what level. And I don't know. There's so many factors that could... It depends on the waiver. It depends on what level of authority that has to approve it. There's a lot of factors in it, but it could take anywhere from a couple of days to several months. Like we're talking like upwards to like 3 to 6 months for some of them. If it's a DMPM federal level moral waiver, we're talking up to 6 months, unfortunately. Jonathan says FNG Academy. Sean, or sorry, I don't remember how to spell his name, was a cook in a Ranger battalion before going to... Yes, absolutely. I read his first book. I forgot what it was called, but he's on the cover of it. Yeah, his upbringing was very, very interesting to read and imagine what he went through. It was nuts. And, you know, for the longest time, I always wondered what FNG stood for. And reading his book, I realized that, because he explained it, FNG means fucking no-go. I think it's hilarious. I think it's awesome that he named his channel fucking No-Go Academy. But anyway, I think that was awesome. Sean Buck Rogers. Yep. JR says, I had a blast in basic training. You will too, even though it wasn't Fort Leonard Wood. Austin Winter says, I was just really worried about the DEI and how I would be treated and if it would be harder to get promoted, but thank you for helping me understand. My goal is still to join this year. So Austin Winters, let me know in the chat box if you're still here. All right, perfect, Jonathan Johnson. Yes, I'm still recruiting in the New York City area, Jonathan Johnson, in Harlem specifically. But with that being said, even though DEI has been removed, we still have our equal opportunity, and that will never change, because has nothing to do with one particular race. That's just equal opportunity for the military folks. So although we are not an equal opportunity employer, once you're in the military, opportunities are equal. Doesn't matter about your race, creed, religion, color, all that stuff. EO is EO. DEI was something else, but they got rid of it, obviously. So, but it's not going to impact you, in my opinion. And there's zero tolerance for racism, just so you're tracking. Can Army Reserve do the 5-week prior service integration course? Yes. Army, Reserve, active duty, anyone could do the 5-week Army integration course if you're eligible for it. You just got to ask when the next class is and make sure you get on that. Where is likely to be stationed as 91? Oh, yeah, I already asked that, but unfortunately, I really have no idea where that would be. Anywhere in the country, honestly, if you go in regular Army. Nathan says, is prior service Army Reserve able to do? Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Team Swartz coming in from Giuseppe De Rosa. What's up, man? Welcome to the stream again, as per usual. Adrian says, getting married before my ship date. Do the recruiter... I'm getting married before our ship date. Does the recruiter change my dependents? Yes. Your recruiter is going to need to get the birth certificate, social security cards, and the ID of your spouse and any children that are involved. So your spouse, birth certificate, social, and ID, and children, birth certificate, and social, or equivalent like green card or what have you. And that will all need to be uploaded into the system. You'll need her parents' information, the in-laws, the mother-in-law, father-in-law, and put all that into the system. Your recruiter will tell you exactly what you need. But yeah, if you get married, bring in your marriage license and the documents I just stated, and you'll be fine. Nestor says, quick question. Can someone that has a juvenile record as a, not sure what SO still join. So when it comes to moral waivers, we do have some basic things that are the same regardless, but it's always going to be dependent on, it's on a case-by-case basis. What are the nitty-gritty details, right? So what I would say is get to disposition or dispositions if you have more than one disposition. If it's something that deals with money, violence, sexual assault, or sexual in nature, domestic, burglary, something like that, right? Those would definitely require not only just a disposition, but those you're going to need to get the arrest report and the court minutes. The court minutes is what the curator is typing up when your court case goes before the judge, whether you're present or not. Every time your case goes before the judge, the curator is typing everything that's being said. So the arrest report, anyone can say whatever to get you arrested. The court visits, right? The courtroom discussions and all that stuff identifies the facts, the fact finding, and then the dispositions, what the judge ultimately decides on the end. So we have factor all that into the total applicant concept to decide whether or not you would be someone who would be eligible to join. So get all those documents, do your recruiter a favor. If you want to streamline the process, go get those on your own. Don't rely on your recruiter to go get it, because it's whenever they feel like going to get it, they'll go get it. Jonathan Johnson says, thanks for the advice. I appreciate it. You're very welcome. I appreciate you. Austin Winters, you are here. Perfect. I forgot why I was asking that. Let me scroll back up real quick. Oh, DEI. All right, perfect. Adrian Tostado, I'm getting married. Please don't repeat yourself multiple times. I will get to you, I promise. But you have me until at least 9 o'clock. Unless I decide to stay longer. Cool Jurassic, how can having bad eyesight prevent me from joining? It could prevent you. How? Administratively. Like astigmatism, myopia, any eye condition. There's a lot of things that can disqualify you from joining. But without your specific issue, I don't really know how to give you advice on it. But yes, there's many ways that one can get disqualified at MEPS, and a waiver would be required and possibly denied. So Will also says, would you suggest bringing combination locks or key locks if you have key locks and attach a key to my dog tag? Drill sergeants prefer you to have a key lock because then you can give them the spare key. So with the likely and unlikely event that you lose your key, they'll have the backup key. Conversely, whereas if you forget your combination, you're kind of screwed. With me, I used my high school my high school wall locker. In fact, I had that lock my entire life until I got to the Drill Sergeant Academy, which was during COVID. So they had us like in a hotel room on base, and then moved us to the barracks after we got past the quarantine period. But my dumbass forgot my high school wall locker lock in my old hotel room, and I lost it, never got it back. There was a lot of sentimental value with that lock. We went far back. Like I would never remember the combo, but as soon as I picked it up, it was like muscle memory. It would just come right back to me. Like if you had asked me what's your combo, I'd be like, I don't know. I just do it. It's weird, but yeah. Me personally, I prefer combination locks, but drill sergeants will prefer you to get key locks and whatever your preference is. Anakin Skywalker, if you're still here, let me know in the chat box, but I had saw your messages right as I was logging off last night. So I apologize I didn't say hi to you last week, but I did see your 2 or 3 messages that you posted real quick that you tuned in, but I do appreciate you. Thank you. This person says, G Vasquez, I would like to go in as an officer in the guard, but I feel like I don't have the leadership skills to do it. Any advice? Honestly, don't worry about it. We will teach you leadership. As long as you're willing to learn and treat people with dignity and respect while adhering and adhering to the regulations and policies and holding people accountable and being fair across the board, then you'll be fine. We will teach you. Now, they will ask you questions like, what type of leadership skills do you have? But in all honesty, how are they really going to know? Just articulate that you have good leadership skills and they'll just take your word for it. Now, if you're going guard, trust me, they approve everybody unless your conversational skills are lacking because English is not your first language. Then I've only had one person in my 20 and a half years get denied OCS for their initial contract because their English wasn't on point. It was very difficult to understand them and them to understand you. So I understood why they denied that individual OCS up front, but he did eventually go OCS in his second contract. But yeah, but you'll be fine. Trust me. If you're going guard, it's a lot easier going OCS in the guard than in the reserve or regular army. It's very competitive for them for some reason. What's up with 19 Charlie, new MOS? Is it OSUT or basic training and then AIT? Well, let me research it real quick. 19 Charlie. Never heard of that before. MOS 19 Charlie. That's in a 19 series, like Cav Scouts, I think it is. But that is definitely going to be OSUT for sure, because it's a combat MOS. Stephen Crosby says, hashtag Team Swartz. Appreciate that. Thank you in the Shepherd Air Force Base, I think is what that means. Your videos have been a great help getting me to this point here till April before I head back to Alaska for the Air National Guard. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. I recognize your name, so I appreciate you. You've been a longtime member of the channel, and I'm glad that you're having a good time in the military and that you're still here, and you appreciate my efforts to help you. Now, I feel like I'm just giving you the information. All your successes is not because of me, it's because of you and your work ethic and the decisions and choices that you make. But I appreciate that. Junior says, how hard is it to join without a GED or high school diploma? It's impossible. Unless you can get 15 college credits, or if you went through like Job Corps or some other equivalent trade school and you've achieved 675 clock hours or more, then you can join in lieu of a high school diploma or GED. And I talk about it in this video, leveraging Sophia. Oops. So watch that video. You're welcome. And feel free to keep me posted. All right, Junior? Gary says, Mr. Lewis, when does my ASVAB test expire? When I'm in the middle of MEPS or before the date they ship me off. What do I have to have signed in play to hold my test scores? Do I have to do? So your ASVAB scores, can't remember off the top of my head if it's before ship date or before you contract. At minimum, your test scores are good for 2 years from the date. So that means that at minimum, you have to ship out on or before that 2-year anniversary. If for some reason you took the test, it was valid at the time that you contracted, but your ship date is a few days to a month or so later, then they're going to make you redo the ASVAB test because your ASVAB scores expired. So just forewarn you. Now, what happens if you're in the training site and your test scores expire? That's a different story. I've never really had to look into that, but that's a really good question. You got me off guard on that one. But in my experience, your scores have to be valid at the very least, because I've seen it happen where they signed their contract, but they had to retake the ASVAB before shipping out. So at minimum, it's got to be good through the point that you ship out to basic training or OSA. Edgardo says, if you join the military, try to get all the benefits available to you. Yes, I second that. Any doubt there is YouTube. It is not like when I joined in 2009. Hang on, what? If you join the military, try to get all the benefits available to you. Okay. Any doubt there is you. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. If there's any doubt, there is YouTube, meaning do your research, do your homework, get educated, informed, and understand everything that you need to know, not only about the joining process, but what you're about to get into to include the training and all that stuff. Right, I get that. And he also says, it is not like when I joined in 2000. What's not like when you joined in 2009? What's different? I mean, aside from the fact that we're officially not at war, what's the difference between 2009 and now? I'm really curious to see. Ian says there's a video about a 59-year-old who went into boot camp from AARP channel. Yes. So for this individual, so you have to understand that up until recently, the age cutoff was 42 years old because the original intent was that you had to sign your contract on or before your 42nd birthday for a waiver so that you could retire with 20 years of service. So under normal circumstances, you have to hit 20 years of service on or before your 60th birthday. But if you could hit retirement within 2 years on or before your 62nd birthday, then you can get a waiver so that you could retire. So with this individual who went through basic training again at 59 years old, he had 19 years of service and he only needed 1 more year to be able to retire from the military. So that's why he was able to join at 59 years old as a prior service soldier. So I know exactly who you're talking about. And he actually served in the same unit as his son. I think it was his son. Yeah, son. But I know who you're talking about. The white guy. Stephen Crosby says, checking in from... Perspicuous says, Full Metal Jacket is an amazing movie, but I just watched Platoon. Oh, that's a really good movie too. With what's his face? He had his own sitcom once before he got in trouble and got canceled. But for sure, a lot of stars in that movie. In fact, when I went through basic training, if you like war stuff, like war movies and TV shows, I highly recommend that you watch, dang, what's it called? The Band of Brothers. That's what it's called. So in basic training, every once in a while, we would watch an episode or a part of an episode of The Band of Brothers. And I think it was on Christmas Day, we watched the movie Platoon. And obviously when you get done, because it's got to be Army related, right? So after the video, they would ask you questions like, what Army value or values did you witness in this scene? And then we would, break it down that way. Or they would tie it somehow to the Army training, like basic training environment. But anyway, yeah, those are two great movies, Platoon and Full Metal Jacket for sure. Edgardo, any paper to the recruiters, always double check everything before shipping. Well, that's the whole point of the day that you ship out to basic training, at least when you're leaving MEPS. If you're going to MEPS, they will make sure that your shipper's packet is tight. If you're direct shipping to the training site, that's a different story. So yes, double check all your paperwork. Make sure your direct deposit's good to go. Like, that's the biggest thing. Pay is important. Hashtag I'm just saying. Oh, Edgardo, yes. 2009, there was not a lot of information on the internet. Yes, exactly. That's pretty much how I stated it earlier when I joined in 2001. In 2001, where like Google was barely like 3 or 4 years old, and they didn't have influencers or content creators like myself spitting fire information out there, and just videos in general. But yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, okay, Erica Bernie. Okay. You always tease me and you say you want to come on here and spread the knowledge. In fact, I could have used you earlier in the stream, but if this person is still here, I have a question for you, Erica. Is 11X Ray bonus eligible for active duty? I kind of already know the answer, but you are an active duty recruiter and I want you to be able to share it. Seeing how you're here and you wanted to pop in and pretend that you want to live stream with me, but just saying. Daniel's son says, thank you for the support. You're very welcome. And I thank you for yours. Thank you for tuning in. Ian says, I also heard a key can save you valuable seconds when getting smoked by a drill sergeant. If you could stick it in a hole fast enough, sure, I could see that as a slight advantage. But here's the deal. One team, one dream. So if somebody else has a combination lock and they don't get into or meet the time hack what the drill sergeant gave to you, guess what? You're still getting smoked regardless. So it doesn't matter if you have a key or a combination lock. If y'all ain't towing the line or being where you're supposed to be at the time that the drill sergeant told you to do it and you missed the time hack, you're still getting smoked. But I hear you. Gary says, wait, I already talked about that. Danielson, what to expect on the practice test, and if I fail, does a recruiter lose interest? So I don't think I have it as a quick text. So so from a recruiter's lens, if you score less than a 20, my mindset is, because of my 20 plus years experience as a recruiter, I just know that the average person does not put honest effort and consistently have put in that effort on a daily basis until they test. If you score less than a 20, in my mind, you're not going to pass the test. It seems like before COVID, we had a whole bunch of people that scored between a 21 and a 30. Now that COVID came and went, and with Common Core being instituted in the education system, I feel like a lot of people are scoring less than a 21. Like, the standards are getting lower and lower. It's crazy. But if you're scoring a 20 or better, I'm testing you. I'll give you a week or two to study. And in my experience, 9 out of 10 times, y'all don't study anyway. So it's going to be dependent on the recruiter. But I'm going to give you the resources and the tools to study, but you got to put in the effort and just do your best. Okay? Looked like Erica Bernie just popped in and popped out. Anywho. And if your recruiter does ignore you, a practice test is just a practice test, right? So just legitimately study and see how you do on the PICAT. And if you don't know what the PICAT is, then here it is. With the 09 mic program being in place, my new threshold is you got to score at least a 15 or better. Because to qualify for the 09 mic, all I need is you score a 21 or better. Austin Winter says, if I got LASIK surgery, will it stop me from joining? If you do not have it already, don't, because you have to wait 6 to 12 months before you can apply to do the medical exam to join. All right. It used to be 12 months. I think recently they reduced it to 6 months. So best case scenario, you have to wait 6 months from date of surgery. Worst case scenario, 12 months from date of surgery. Your choice. Choose wisely, my friend. Serene says, tracker spreadsheet, what does it mean? Oh, that must have been you in my Instagram DMs. So I'm not sure of the context of how that individual used the word tracker for you, because you asked me, is tracker a recruiter? I have no clue what that means, but for us in the military, we have trackers to track various things. Like we have a tracker we call weekly agenda, a spreadsheet rather, of all the applicants that we're processing and keeping an eye on that's looking to process very, very soon. That's an example of a tracker. And we love trackers in the military. So we got the tracker that tracks the tracker that tracks all the trackers of the tracker. But you don't need to concern yourself about the tracker. Just know it sounds like, based on what you're sharing with me, that your recruiter put your name on a tracker. Their leadership can track your progress as you move through the different stations or processes to join the military, basically. Nathan says, is someone who is 42 years old with 3 years prior service Army able to go OCS after redoing basic and finishing AIT? The answer to that is no. They will not do an age waiver for federal OCS. I have yet to see one. If they do, it's very, very seldom and rare, like super duper rare. So don't hold your breath. I believe the National Guard, you have to commission on or before your 44th birthday. I'm not really sure. Did I put it in the chat box? No, I'll do it right now. So check out my video here. I can't remember if it's 42 or 44 years old for state OCS in the National Guard. Check that out. So you'll initially be enrolled into the state traditional OCS program where it's like 14 months long. In that, if your land navigation skills are on point and your physical fitness levels are high, then they'll probably send you through the 9-week accelerated state OCS option, which is full time. DG says, I'm about to hit 2-year mark at my current duty station. How do I negotiate my next location? Married with a child and hoping for outside of the US. So sit down with your career counselor and you just tell them where you want to go, and they'll tell you if you can or you can't. They usually try to do everything that they can to give you duty station of choice after your initial contract. So 9 out of 10 times you'll get duty station of choice, as long as they have your MOS in space. Austin Winter says, the reason I ask is I have astigmatism in one eye and don't want to get disqualified. So if you have astigmatism, depending on how bad it is, like worst case scenario, you'll get a waiver. And 9 out of 10 times when we submit a waiver for astigmatism, it gets approved. So I really wouldn't worry about it if it's just astigmatism. If it's correctable to 20/40 or at least one eye to 20/20, 20/40, and the other eye to like 2100, you're fine. Your waiver will get approved. Mount Rose says, have you ever trained a Special Forces or Option 40 contractee in basic training, and how did they perform compared to the regular average Joes? No, I have not. Erica Burney may have, but honestly, they don't really know who's going. So in basic training, they really don't know if you're going Special Forces or not usually. Maybe after the first 72 hours where they read up about you and counsel you and all that good stuff about your roles and responsibilities and expectations and all that good stuff. But it really, so the ones that we think of, like when we think of Special Forces, we think of somebody that's cock diesel for no reason. They got that jawline, like, you know, it's like nobody's business type thing. those people usually struggle because they have a lot of muscle mass and they're like bodybuilder like. But most special forces, at least the more successful ones, are more of the average athlete that are thinner, like thin, not like bulky with lots of muscle. Those tend to struggle a lot because they have to deliver a lot of oxygen to the muscles and stuff like that. So it really, and mindset and stuff like that. But yeah, that question would be really, really cool for Sergeant First Class Klaus. That's a really good question that he could answer. I'll post it right here. But he could probably tell you, because I actually brought that question up. Like, how fit does one need to be to go to the Special Forces? And we actually addressed it into that podcast. All right, so that's the last question in the bin. Do we cut it off right now, or do I go for a couple more minutes? Because I know I started a couple minutes late. And Akin, is OSUT worse than basic training in your opinion? I think it's only worse. OSUT is worse only because if you get recycled to the first day of basic training, even if you're in gold phase, which is like the tail end of AIT, if that makes sense. Edgardo says, I enter with a myopia waiver. They will send you to a medic for evaluation. So they'll send you to an ophthalmologist to be tested. I'm really, really surprised that your myopia waiver got approved. You signed your contract already, Edgardo? Every myopia waiver that I've ever submitted have all been denied. So if you got yours approved, hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So if you're just tuning in now, I'm about to wrap it up, but if you guys don't have any other questions, then I'll just wrap it up right now. Is it true that you get to choose the location that you talked about with your recruiter when deciding where to be stationed after basic training? Is this for active duty or Guard or Reserve? Let me know. Edgardo says Swartz eye waivers are related to MOS. Sometimes MOSs will restrict certain eye conditions. Yeah, so if you have a certain eye condition, you would be restricted from that MOS or opportunity, if that makes sense. So it is a possibility that it could restrict you from certain MOSs for sure. Peace. Active duty. So at time of enlistment, I forgot which option. Like, you know, there's like option 40 and whatever the other options are, but I forgot the option for duty station of choice. If you're eligible for it, ask about duty. Just ask for duty station of choice when you're going to sign your contract. And if you qualify for it, go for it. You're welcome, Ian. Ooh, Austin, if you can get a 17 Charlie, in my opinion, go for that. That's like the future right there, for sure. Oh, now we're coming in with all these questions right before I leave, right? Vasquez says, I want to do MP, military police, or criminal investigation division. Does that require a security clearance, and will my credit history matter? Yes, you will need a secret clearance for MP. CID might require a top secret, not really sure, but at minimum a secret clearance. So you must be a U.S. citizen and obviously line scores. And you can't start with CID. You will start as a 31 Bravo military police and work your way into CID. Danielson says, I used to be 280. I'm down to 250. Wow, so I'm talking about 30 pounds. That's a huge deal. How tall are you? And are you a male or a female? Because if you can get down to like 225, maybe 230, depending on how tall you are and what gender you are, that will matter. Because I've had somebody at 5'5" at 225 pass the tape test. And with the 09 mic program, you could be up to, but not anything more than 8% over your maximum allowable body fat per your age and gender. You're welcome, Oluwason. Master Chug says, thank you for your knowledge, wisdom, and being the best channel. Appreciate it. Thank you. See, I like comments like that. You guys make my day when you say stuff like that. T&D Gaming, YT Dollar says, are you a part of the 369 Armory? I could have sworn I saw you at Drill. At Drill or today in the Armory? Yes, my office is located at the Harlem Armory. And I was going back and forth between my office and the ground floor where the main recruiting office is. But I'm temporarily there until my armory is done being renovated. They're doing a $3.1 to $3.2 million renovation in my old office. I will be retired before they wrap that up and finish it. So I will have to go and visit it as a retiree when they reopen up the armory, because I'm really curious to see the changes from what it was to what it's about to become. But yeah, I was there today and every day this week. Austin says, will iWaiver stop me from getting it? I don't remember. Getting what? 17 Charlie or 27? Those two MOSs, if I remember correctly, I think it was like 17 Charlie and 27 Delta. No, that vision shouldn't matter with those MOSs. Not that I recall at the top of my head. Mount Rose says, do you know about the possible problems that those with flat feet may face in the military? Like, are insoles allowed to be put in your boats, etc.? When do you get to buy boots after basic training? In AIT, you can get a third-party aftermarket boot as long as it's within or in accordance with AR 670-1. But yeah, AIT, worst case scenario. And yes, you can put special insoles in your shoes. So if you have special insoles and you have flat feet, I would bring 2 pair if you can, but at least bring 1 pair of insoles, but I would bring 2 for sure. And they're authorized. Infantry, Fort Moore, then Germany 3 years. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Good stuff. Option 19, I believe, for duty station. Yes, I think that sounds about right. I was thinking 21 or 19, but yeah, I think it is 19. Thank you, DG. Appreciate that. And Atkins says, thanks for your help, bro. I want to join as a new 19 Charlie MOS. I'm 6'3", 265 male trying to lose weight. And Atkin, I don't know if you saw this video, and I'm not sure if it's up your alley. It's worth a check it out. But this is my TEAM SWARTZ fat loss strategy, leveraging the keto diet, intermittent fasting protocols with being a caloric deficit and walking at least 60 to 120 minutes a day. I lost upwards to like 32, 34 pounds in 3.5 months doing that on my own. But I think that at 6'3", at 265, you might even pass the body fat percentage as is. So get with a recruiter and let me know what your body fat percentage is. And then I'll give you my 2 cents after that. So find out from a recruiter after being taped. Let me know what your body fat percentage is, and then I'll let you know what I think. Vasquez says, what exactly do they look at on credit report, and can I get a waiver for it if I have bad credit? So it doesn't matter if you have a bad credit score. What they're looking for is bad credit history, i.e. late payments, charge-offs, collections, bankruptcy, things of that nature. Irresponsible spending habits and irresponsible debt payments. That makes sense. That's what they're looking for. MP is most likely going away slowly. They have been being replaced by civilians. At military installations, yes. I can see that. Branson shipping out to Fort Jackson. In my opinion, military police are just glorified infantrymen with a badge that know the law, basically. Branson says shipping out to Fort Jackson. Any advice would be appreciated. Branson, yes. All my advice, tips to prepare for basic training are in this video. Come into the chat box, and it's also linked down below. How long doing what? Hang on. Oh, how you doing? What is the cutoff for National Guard maximum age, and could I get an age waiver at 42? 42 is like right at the spot where it becomes an issue. So if you have a meritorious reason to why you waited until you're 42 years old, then a waiver can be entertained and approved. So that would be a waiver that I, as a recruiter, would entertain because most of them get approved. Danielson says 22 years old, 5'11", lost 30 pounds in 1 month. That's what I'm talking about. Hang on, what is that part of what I was asking earlier? Oh, you're 250 now. Okay, so you're 250. What's your reason for getting to 200 pounds? So at 5'11", so between 225 and 250, you'll be able to get to where you need to be to qualify for the 09 mic program. And if you can, go for it. I highly recommend it. You're very welcome, Branson. You're welcome. Appreciate you. And thank you for the hashtag Team Swartz. And Atkin says, I do keto often, brother. I run a mile a day at least. All right, good stuff. Good stuff. You're on the right track. Keep trending that way and you're good. Ihan Vasquez says, just left MEPS today. Just got to wait for my allergy waiver and then I'm off. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Brandon, and for everybody else who's about to go to basic training or OSADSA, good luck. May the training gods forever be in your favor. Do your best. Be on time, be in the correct uniform, make the best of this opportunity, make friends, but more importantly, get MOS qualified and get to your first unit of assignment. Anakin says, you are the best military YouTuber for real. You give the best info. I appreciate that, Anakin. Apparently my analytics do not reflect that. So if y'all want to share your favorite video of mine, that would be great. But I do appreciate it and thank you. Matt Rose says, if you would choose what season to enter basic training, I don't have to read the rest. Go in the wintertime. Not necessarily wintertime, but cooler months is better because you can always do things to warm up, but you can't do anything to cool yourself down. But I would have kept it the way I did it. I left for basic training in October, graduated from AIT. I had a really short AIT. So I graduated February of 2000. And yeah, I shipped out October 2001 and graduated in February 2002. The only downside to going in the winter months is if there's snow on the obstacle courses, some of the activities will be not authorized because for safety reasons. That's the only downside to going in the cooler months, aside from it being cold, of course. And you definitely will lose weight in OSAT. Tracy Morrison says, thoughts on time it takes for a DMPM. Could take up to 6 months, and it's on a case-by-case basis to whether or not it would be approved. Sorry, that was the one I was referring to. And if you get a DMPM waiver, then you're not going to get a secret clearance at all. That means you are a bad boy, bad girl. You need a moral waiver. And DMPM is the highest level waiver authority, so you're definitely not going to get a clearance position. If you do, prove me wrong, but in my experience, definitely not going to get a top secret, and more than likely, you're not going to get a secret clearance with a DMPM level waiver for sure. You're very welcome, Branson. Jose Lopez Jr. says, straight off the couch to Fort Moore, bad decision? Not necessarily, but the more you prepare yourself before basic, the better. My recruiter said it's their job at basic training to get you in shape. Don't worry about it. Yes and no. Every day, do something. At minimum, walk every day, and on the every other day, I would jog. Just a light, casual jog. Don't worry about distance, don't worry about intensity, don't worry about time, like a fast time. The only time I want you to worry about is jogging for 30 minutes at a time. That's it. All right. Try to get yourself comfortable jogging for 30 minutes. And watch my basic training prep video if you haven't watched it yet. Edgardo also says, for 92 whiskey, I remember they are worried about colorblind and peripheral vision. Yeah, it's MOS specific for sure. And just so you're tracking, there's like over 150 different MOSs, and I'm not going to remember absolutely every single detail for every single MOS. But if you do have vision problems, then yes, it will restrict you from certain jobs for sure. Ian Klopper, and I think 92 whiskey is a water treatment specialist. I don't see why you would need peripheral vision, or well, color vision I can see because you have to, check the different colors of the, I forgot what they're called, but yeah, when you test the water, yeah, I can see the color vision being an issue, but peripheral vision, I don't know why that would be an issue. How about, does your finance situation need to be in order for it to be impact application? Define what's not in order in your unique circumstances for me to understand the context of your question to be able to give you a legitimate, genuine, and accurate response. Appreciate you, Ian. Assassin says, this Friday I'm going to take my ASVAB. Do you have any tips? Yeah, absolutely. Watch my video that I just posted like 6 days ago that's sitting at 700 views, which is sad to see because I put like over 30 hours worth of effort into that video. But nonetheless. Tenzin says, what happens if my MOS is not available when I'm eligible for it? You can wait for it. I talk about it in my MOS video right here. You can wait until it becomes available if you can wait and you're not like financially stuck, right? But if you need the Benjamins to survive, then you might have to settle for something a little less exciting and then work towards that when you negotiate your re-enlistment if you decide to stay in the service. That's what my recruiter said. What's the most badass job I can get in the Army Reserve? Infantry Ranger. So in the Reserve, they have no combat jobs. They have one singular infantry unit in the state of Washington, but they don't have Rangers. They could possibly send you to Ranger School, but they don't have a Ranger Battalion. The Ranger Regiment is in the active duty and only the active duty. Not even the National Guard have it, but all the combat jobs, like if you compare Reserve to Guard, Reserve have most of the medical assets and the Guard has most, if not all, of the combat jobs. So if you want infantry and special forces and all stuff, you're going to have to go National Guard. The most badass in your terms, MOS in the Reserve would be military police. That'd be about it. Edgardo says, oh, that's not for me. Hina Natalia says, hey, haven't been struggling getting letters of recommendation for a mental health waiver. I am one short and everyone I ask ends up bailing on me. I am running out of ideas. Who will? Any thoughts? Yes. So it's not that some people don't want to write you a character reference letter. They just make excuses to the time, or yeah, they just either don't have the time or the patience to literally figure out what they're going to want to put in words on writing in the letter. So I would, between you and me, I would write the character statement letter myself, meeting all the requirements that your recruiter is probably telling you what we're looking for. And I would take that letter to them and be like, do you approve of this message? And if they say yes, great, sign here, and have them sign it. That's what I would do. As long as they agree that all the stuff that you put in your character reference letter is true and accurate, and they agree to it, then have them sign it. That's what I would do, or what I would recommend. So a lot of people they want to support you. They just don't love you enough to take time out of their day to type up or write up the letter. So if you type up the letter for them and it's true and it's accurate and they agree to it, then be like, cool, sign right here. Now you have your third letter. Tracy Morrison says, I asked about the DMPM waiver and secret clearance. Can I get a secret later after enlisting? Yes. Think of it as kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Credit, like credit history, right? When you first join, if you get your first credit card, or if you don't have a credit card, you're going to have a crappy credit score. That's what happened to me. I remember I almost was in tears at a Verizon cell phone store because I wanted to get off my parents' plan and be an independent individual and have my own plan because I had a part-time job at the time and I wanted to be responsible and take care of my own bills. But with that being said, they're like, yeah, man, sorry, I can't approve you. You're going to have to give us, I think they wanted something crazy like $500 or $1,000 down payment to open up an account with Verizon because I had bad credit. And I'm like, what do you mean I have bad credit? I've never bought anything in my life. Anyway, So think of it like that. So you want to build up credit. So you have no credit. So when you're first joining with the best of the best character reference letters, we're not going to trust them, because who the hell is going to put on writing that you're a shitty ass person? Nobody. So you're going to give us a biased person who actually likes you and probably legitimately does think highly of you, but it's not going to work in your favor. So again, we're not going to trust your character references. So when you join the military after 2 or 3 years, now we have people that are in the military who are or were your first line leaders, like your platoon sergeant, squad leaders, platoon leaders, first sergeants, company commanders, who all can speak on your character, work ethic, the things that you've done that were good, bad, or indifferent. And that's like building up credit. So you come in, you do the best that you can, you come to be reliable, dependable, you show up on time, be in the correct uniform, and you do that consistently to the point where people trust you to give you and task you things, to know that even without being observed or overseen, that even in the absence of their presence, that they are comfortable enough and trust you enough to get the job done. And then after 2 or 3 years, when you go to renegotiate your contract, then you have, those are your new character references. And now, because you built up such a good reputation for your work ethic and everything else, do all the above, now you're giving the investigator someone to call back that they're going to trust. And that's like building up your credit, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if you're getting the analogy, but more or less that addresses your question. All right. I'll be watching that again after this. All right. Good stuff. Good luck. How did you get the confidence and the will to do the obstacle course? Like for the shorter and weaker individuals, how do they hire up? Teamwork makes the dream work, right? And sometimes you just don't think about it, you just execute, you know what I mean? But you just have to just do it. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, and when you finally do it, you're going to amaze yourself and be like, wow, that really wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. You just got to be like Nike. Just do it. Vasquez says, MPs are going away. Should I just get a different? I have not heard. You guys are the only ones telling me that MPs are going away. I have yet to hear about military police leaving. And they've been saying the same thing about all kinds of other MOSs. So I wouldn't worry about it. If you want to go military police, go military police. In the event they get rid of MPs, guess what? You now have an open contract and you can negotiate a new job of choice. That's how I see it. It is not a requirement at basic training or AIT unless your MOS requires it, like combat diver, scuba diver, other and special forces and ranger school. Other than that, yeah, so you won't need to know how to swim, but you could get lessons. 27 here, 6 foot, 170. I have a misdemeanor in the background, but want to join the reserve. Could I still get an infantry? Yes, absolutely. Well, depending on what the misdemeanor is, but yeah, 100%. Yep. The GOAT for going overtime, Swartz. That's what I'm talking about. Well, I mean, in my defense or your defense or my defense, I don't know, whatever. I did start about 10, 15 minutes late because, yeah, I tried something new and, yeah, I went into overtime, but yeah, appreciate it. You're very welcome. Are they still sending individuals to airborne and ranger school after infantry school? Yes, it's possible. If it's in your contract, absolutely. If they have space available and they need to fill in slots, they will offer it to you. Usually the ones that have the highest PT score, physical training score. Jonathan Johnson says, I have bad credit. I can't open a bank account. I mostly work in construction. Any advice? So you're probably going to have to open up a bank account because it's a requirement to join that you have a bank account. So you're probably going to open up a bank account with Armed Forces Bank. They will open up a bank account prematurely before you sign your contract. So if you need help with that, reach out to me on Instagram, TEAM SWARTZ, and in the DMs, and just tell me I need a bank account, and just say Jonathan Johnson if it's not the same on your Instagram, and I'll remember this conversation. But yeah, the Armed Forces bank account will make an account for you regardless of your bad credit. At least as far as I'm tracking, they'll do it. But you're gonna need a bank account in order to join. And worst case scenario, an online banking system. JG, mental status is a big thing in the military. You can't be compromised and got to know who you are and not confused about identity. Well, thank you for sharing your opinion, but I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole. And please do not discuss this any further because I do not want to get political here. Thank you. Perspicuous says, shipping out Tuesday. Thanks for everything. You're very welcome. Good luck. Military police is not going away. I don't think so either. And Atkin said, I think Chris Chaos mentioned that MPs are going away. Well, he is stationed on Fort Leonard Wood, so he might have insider information that I'm not privy to. But I'll reach out to him. Him and I are friends on Instagram, and we talk from time to time. In fact, we're supposed to collaborate. Thank you for reminding me. Maybe we'll do a collab. Maybe I'll bring him on soon. What do you think? You think I should bring him on? Tracy Morrison says, thank you for the knowledge on the waiver and clearance situations on behalf of recruiting. How many DMPMs do you see pass percentage-wise? I would probably say, if I remember the stats correctly, it's over 70-80% of the DMPM waivers that are submitted are approved. It's actually a pretty decent number because we're not usually typically going to submit something that's not going to get approved. Sometimes it's like a wet noodle and we throw it up against the wall and hope that it sticks. You know what I'm saying? Jose took the ASVAB, got a 70. Great job. Good stuff. Do I ever have to retake that bad boy out? So as long as you're in the service, as long as you get past your first contract or at least past AIT. Yeah, as long as you get past AIT and you become MOS qualified, those ASVAB scores are good for 10 years, at minimum 10 years from the date that you're discharged. And if it's beyond that, as long as your scores are still in the system somewhere, like your official scores, then you'll never have to retake the ASVAB. Edgardo says, National Guard MPs at least get one tour and they're 6x2. Be aware you will need to be... yeah, that's true. I mean, any MOS, always be ready to go. Yeah, Chris is awesome for sure. Am I active? National Guard Drill Sergeant. So I'm in the AGR program, Active Guard Reserve, and my full-time job and responsibility is a recruiting and retention NCO. And then on the drill weekends at the RSP, Recruit Sustainment Program, we're giving pre-basic training to help our recruits get mentally and physically prepared for Army basic training and making sure that their administrative stuff is good to go and tight with their shipper's packet and all that good stuff so they don't have any issues. But yeah, I'm still active. How well do they teach land navigation? As long as you're paying attention, they teach it pretty well. The MOS I'm interested in, though, is very unlikely to get. I got 3 years before I sign. Has land navigation must-haves. Okay, yeah. I mean, you can learn it yourself. Look up this guy right here. He has not posted videos in years, but Matt Ward has a phenomenal land navigation. Just copy and paste this in the search bar and you'll find his video, Matt Ward land navigation. And he does a really, really good class on there. One of these days I'll redo it. But yeah. Yes, please. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'll DM you tomorrow or something. Sounds great. Appreciate you. The Jordan Begley, why don't they let reservists have battle ready jobs? My office partner a few years ago explained it to me, but I forgot at what point, like if it was in the 50s or 60s or something like that. They made some government decision to transfer the bulk of the medical assets to the Army Reserve and majority of the combat assets to the Army National Guard. I don't understand why or whatnot, but I'll have to ask him. So if you come back next week, ask me this question and I'll let you know what the answer is. And I'll do a little more research too. And Atkins says, do you know any recruiters in Cali? Yes, I know quite a few. Like the stream. Yes, please. MexCam says, how come they are getting rid of Cav Scouts? I keep hearing they're getting rid of them, but they're still here. I don't prefer email, but I'm going to put it in the chat box for you. I prefer my Instagram, honestly, but sometimes emails get lost in the sauce because I get so many dang emails. Hunter says, I want to go infantry in the Guard. I have 2 past DUIs, the latest being 3 years ago. Can I still get into the infantry? Yeah, you should be fine. We can waive 2 DUIs. As long as you don't have any other misdemeanors or whatnot, you're good to go. You can do a waiver. The name sounds familiar. Man, that does sound familiar, actually. Edgardo says, remember the new recruit, be aware of their RSP drills, and for the Army Reserve, someone tell me that they do something similar before they ship. The Reserve and active duty have the future soldier weekly session, and it's only as good as a future soldier leader that puts in the effort to train you. It's usually just like a quick smoke session, keep you motivated so you ship out. But the RSP is like an actual program where you come in, you earn pay, you get paid for the weekend to learn about basic training, and it is governed by the National Guard Bureau. Thanks for the suggested videos. I have a lot to watch now, so I'll be going. You are the best. Hashtag Team SWARTZ. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Can I get state tuition assistance for a second bachelor's if I join the National Guard? That is going to be state specific. I know here in New York, it is not allowed. So it really depends on your state. Now, if you came from another country and we didn't pay for your foreign education, then yes, you can leverage our state tuition to pay for your second bachelor's degree. Keep up the work and the algorithm will discover you. Your video streams are uniquely helpful to potential recruits. So I appreciate that. Thank you. You're very welcome, Hunter. This person says, what is the National Guard in comparison to the Army Reserve? Really good question. I have an in-depth 52-minute that breaks down the similarities, differences, and the pros and cons. And I do a pretty honest and fair job at seeing it from two different angles. So obviously it's subjective to the individual on what is a pro and a con. So I kind of like play devil's advocate. So I talk about how this could be a con and how it could be a pro and vice versa in that video. And it's linked down below too if you need to go find it later. Your knowledge is appreciated. Thank you, I appreciate it. Can you explain the AGR and how it works? Active Guard Reserve are limited full-time opportunities within the Guard and Reserve, like Readiness NCO, Unit Administrator, Supply Sergeant. Then you have like my job, Recruiter or Recruiting and Retention NCO in the National Guard, Career Counselors, things like that. I have a video here that goes a little bit more into detail. So I'm about to log off here, but that will go over the limited full-time opportunities within the Guard and Reserve. Do you know if 19 Kilo M1 crewman on YouTube I can look into? You just search it and you'll find it. I don't know any off the top of my head, like specific, but if you YouTube search it in the search bar, you'll find it. Jose says, Team SWARTZ, I'm out. Thank you always for the knowledge. Appreciate you. Have a good one. And Atkin says, real question. Lopez, Jose, I appreciate you. If you're still here, I appreciate you. Thank you. And Atkin says, real question. You like the old digital pattern? Hell no. Now they were way more comfortable, but I hated that pattern. Hell no. Get rid of those things. I like the OCP way better. This uniform, the OCP, reminds me of the old BDUs. Just a better version. When should you start online college and active duty? As soon as possible, or do you need to be at your station for a while? I would suggest get to your first duty station first and find out what their op tempo is like, operation tempo. Like, are they gearing up for a deployment? Feel it out for a month or two and find out like what the norm is there. And if you can go online and knock out some courses from there. I recommend post university. That's who I'm going through. It's an 8-week course and it's asynchronous. So you don't have to log into all these BS Zoom sessions and stuff. So it's at your own pace. So post university in Connecticut, look them up. Can I get state tuition assistance for a second bachelor's if I enlist as an E4 National Guard? So as I said in your last previous state question, because you asked this before. If you're coming from another country with a 4-year degree and you're looking to leverage the National Guard state tuition assistance for a second 4-year degree, then yes, we could do that. Other than that, it's state specific on whether or not they do. I talk about it in this video here. And in the description area is a link to find out what they offer for your specific state, like in a summary. But get with a recruiter in that local state to find out what your options are. Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn, New York. That's my favorite place. But with that being said, I definitely did some overtime tonight, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. See you next week, same time, 7 p.m. This time I won't be late. I probably won't have this stand-up thing. This is really annoying. Yeah, we'll have a different setup next week. But I appreciate you tuning in. Stay blessed, be good, and I'll see you next time.